Good morning. This is Kathleen Clow with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Thursday, August 14th, 2025. The fire potential impacts across the next few days include mixed thunderstorms bringing a lightning risk in areas of high winds. Starting today, we'll see some relief from those triple-digit temps, but the risk for mixed wet and dry thunderstorms increases in coverage to include northeastern Nevada, all of Utah, eastern Idaho, and western Wyoming, with an additional risk for high winds across the Vegas and Arizona strips and southwestern Utah. On Friday, storm coverage shifts to the east and decreases to just include mixed storms across Utah, eastern central Idaho, and western Wyoming. The high risk for winds expands to the north to include a larger portion of southwestern Utah, with an additional area of high wind risk in western Wyoming and eastern central Idaho. On Saturday, storm coverage shifts north to include most of central Idaho, western Wyoming, and northern Utah, where we expect mixed wet and dry storms. That area of wind risk expands further north to include southeast Nevada, a large portion of western Utah, and the Arizona Strip. Radar estimates from the past 24 hours show the heaviest precipitation across the southern Sierra Front and northeast across Nevada into southern and eastern central Idaho, with pockets of up to a half inch of rain. Scattered precip of up to a quarter inch across larger portions of Nevada, Utah, the Arizona Strip, and western Wyoming is also seen. Satellite loop from yesterday afternoon into the evening shows that line of thunderstorms that tracked across Nevada, Idaho, and western Wyoming, bringing lots of lightning, as well as some storms across the Arizona Strip and Utah, providing cloud cover over some of our large fires. Lots of IA in the past 24 hours from lightning. The Great Basin had 25 new starts for a total of 7,263.65 acres and a large fire growth of 1,005 acres. August 10th through yesterday morning shows precip across the Sierra Front in central Idaho. Yesterday's precipitation will be reflected in tomorrow's map. That's why we're not seeing it here. In the last 30 days, the basin has received well below normal precipitation, except northwestern Nevada and sparse pockets in western and northern central Idaho, which have received above normal amounts of precipitation. ERC values remain rapidly on the rise across western Nevada and western Idaho, with almost no green left on the map. And you can see just the difference from yesterday to today, where a lot of those yellows from yesterday have now moved into the orange and red categories. Most of the basin remains in that 97th percentile and above area. You can see all those purple dots on the map, potentially the most we've ever had on the map. I'm hoping to see some recovery from rain for this, but overall, fuels remain extremely critical. Satellite from this morning shows some lingering storms moving out of northeastern Nevada and eastern central Idaho, as well as cloud coverage across much of Utah and the Arizona Strip. Heavier smoke impacts today across northern central Idaho, southern Nevada, the Arizona Strip, and much of Utah from new starts and ongoing fires. We expect to see a similar pattern tomorrow with less of an impact across southern Nevada. As a whole, the basin is still seeing smoke impacts from those southern California wildfires. Today, we've issued high risk for lightning across northeastern Nevada, the Arizona Strip, most of Utah, southern eastern Idaho, and western Wyoming due to the potential for mixed wet and dry thunderstorms. Conditions continue to remain dry across the basin, and we'll continue to see some higher winds across central Idaho and western Wyoming. We'll see some relief from those triple-digit temps, and the basin will have high temperatures between the mid-80s to mid-90s, except the Vegas and Arizona strips and Colorado-Utah border, which still remain in the triple digits. Forecast precip shows that mixed storm potential across northeastern Nevada, all of Utah, the Arizona Strip, southeastern Idaho, and western Wyoming, where we could see up to a few tenths of an inch in sparse pockets, but overall, maybe more on the drier side. Some areas of 25 to 35-mile-per-hour winds across the Arizona Strip, southwestern Utah, and portions of central Idaho, western Wyoming are expected today, with additional areas of gusty storm outflow winds in the pink and brown. So we'll have some stronger erratic winds across those areas in Nevada and Utah. Minimum relative humidities will be higher across Utah, 23% over the Monroe Canyon fire and 36% over the Beulah fire. So we'll see a little bit of RH recovery today following this storm potential, but still dry overall. On Friday, following this storm cycle, the Arizona Strip and portions of Utah will move to low risk, with the rest of the basin remaining at moderate risk, except northern central Idaho, which is also low risk. We're also tracking the potential for some precipitation across the basin, seen in black and green, as that band of moisture moves south and east. Possibly breezier conditions across central Idaho are expected as well. Tomorrow, again, we'll see those cooler temperatures between the mid-80s to mid-90s across most of the basin, and a continued chance for mixed dry and wet storms from northeastern Nevada to western Wyoming, the Arizona Strip, and much of Utah. We expect up to a few tenths of an inch of rain in sparse pockets, so maybe some heavier precip in the blue there. We expect some higher winds than 25 to 35-mile-per-hour range across the Arizona Strip and southwestern Utah, as well as eastern central Idaho and western Wyoming. Additionally, we expect some erratic winds from those storm outflows. You can see those in the pink and brown across parts of Nevada and Utah as well. Minimum RH values will be much higher on Friday with 40% RH over the Fish Lake and 40% in northeastern Utah at those higher elevations. Nevada and most of central Idaho will still remain in the low double digits following that lightning risk, so still a chance for holdovers there and still definitely some dry conditions across parts of the basin. On Saturday, again, no high risk triggers. A few more central Utah zones will move to low risk following that precip chance and higher RH from Friday. And again, there is still a chance for some higher winds across central Idaho and western Wyoming with some lingering storm potential across parts of the basin. We'll have lower temps on Saturday in the mid 80s to low 90s, so a little bit cooler than we've been seeing. And there's also an additional chance for some mixed storms across Utah, parts of central Idaho, and western Wyoming. Precip accumulation will be spotty and light with some heavier precip of up to a few tenths of an inch possible across northeastern Utah and western Wyoming. We anticipate a risk for gustier winds across the Vegas and Arizona strips in eastern Nevada and a larger portion of western Utah as well, where we expect gusts between 25 and 30 miles per hour. RH values still remain in the low double digits and teens across Nevada, but higher across Utah, Idaho, and western Wyoming, with values between 20 and 30%, and even up to 35 to 43% in those higher elevations near the Monroe Canyon and Beulah fires. So definitely some temp and RH recovery coming our way this weekend. Over the next 3 days, we expect to see that light precip across most of the basin, maybe up to a tenth of an inch in some places, and some heavier precip across the Arizona Strip, Utah, and western Wyoming, where we could see up to a quarter to half inch. So a good amount of precip across the basin over the next few days. On Sunday, again, we've got no high risk triggers. A few of those central Utah zones will move back to that moderate risk category as that drying pattern reemerges. You can see that dry air in the red there. We're also expecting some higher winds across much of the basin with some storm potential maybe across central Idaho as that low pressure system to the north starts to impact northwestern Nevada and Idaho. On Monday, we'll still have those warm, dry, and breezy conditions settling in across the basin, bringing a risk for holdovers following all of the lightning from Thursday into the weekend. Southern Utah and the Arizona Strip will move back to that moderate risk category, as well as a few zones in northwestern Idaho as things kind of start to dry out. On Tuesday, things will continue to dry out. You can see that pocket of even drier air in the dark red there coming into the basin. And we expect some higher winds across western Nevada and central Idaho. Most of the basin will remain at that moderate risk, except for a few portions of northwestern central Idaho. On Wednesday, we'll see a similar pattern where we still have that massive dry air and some breezier conditions, but lighter winds than Tuesday. We'll still see breezy conditions across western Nevada into central Idaho, and the majority of the basin will remain at moderate risk, except a few zones in western and northern central Idaho. So just another dry, breezy day on Wednesday. The next 7 days of precip look very similar to the 3 day that we just saw. Maybe a few pockets of heavier rain across Utah and western Wyoming, but overall, not a lot of precip days 4 through 7 for us in the basin. So still staying within that kind of maybe up to a tenth of an inch, in some places up to a quarter inch of rain. The next 8 to 14 days show the chance for above normal temperatures across the basin, with the highest chance concentrated around northern Utah, northeastern Nevada, and southern Idaho. The precipitation outlook shows near normal precip across Nevada and central Idaho, with above normal precip across eastern Idaho, western Wyoming, Utah, and the Arizona Strip, and an even higher chance for above average precip across eastern Utah. That concludes today's fire potential briefing. Please check back tomorrow for the latest updates.